There are vast histories that monopolize on disgust, our feelings of disgust, make us feel disgusted, even if historically before we didn't feel disgusted, really train us to be disgusted. And that's also essential in understanding how we can be socialized to reject, to create difference and a gap, a large, wide space away from what is disgusting. My mother was born in Dhaka, that's in West Bengal. She migrated to Calcutta, which is part of India, and she married my father, and so they have very different cultural identities. So she made it that very clear that I'm part, West Bengal and part Indian. They came to London in 1968. I was, 5 years old. My dad wanted, when I went to school, didn't need for me to wear a headscarf, but my mom did. So I never had this original identity that was a cohesive one. And I think that's the first departure from what people perceive of me in terms of my own ethnicity and national origin. I graduated from Case Western Reserve University with a degree in polymer engineering and worked in a lab. And you have to do what they tell you to do. It was a big awakening for me to see how the market system works with science. And here was this idea of being an artist that was not needful of those things. It was idealism itself. When people say, how did you decide on this profession? With absolutely no information. Just curiosity, the reason why I would enter into art. And you want to share it not just with a scientific community, but the whole world, all communities, no barriers, no inhibitions. That's, an amazing thing. For this show in Los Angeles and LA LOUVER, the title that took interest in over the years was this idea of disgust. Disgust for me is a way of thinking about what is so clear in our emotional response that it forms a boundary. And I think it's an interesting word to think about in terms of race, in terms of difference, and in terms of critical thinking. Those boundaries are sometimes what we play with in terms of our cultural orientation. Some of the panel paintings that I've finished right now, one of them is a witchy who has all these eggs inside her that are orange and glistening, and she has a beak, and the beak is like a bird, and she has a witch's hat, and she's flying through mountains. She's pregnant with all these eggs. To think of this witchy, the hag is pregnant and filling the world with all the landscapes of mountains with her eggs is disgusting. I have a girl who has sinned, and she sinned because she bought too many clothes. And she has a hat and earrings and jewelry and heels and all the pleasures of the body. Experiencing yourself to the point of vanity and that kind of greed that women are accused of. And next to her in this is a Chinese girl who appears as kind of a ghost, and surrounding her are these red threads. They kind of follow her around, and it's supposed to be the greed of consumption.